I'm going to make a buttons for our website. So we've already started our website. First thing we're going to do is select Edit, Insert, and select a new button. And this brings us up to a button editor. So you'll see it says Button Editor right here. And the first thing we need to do is draw the upstate for it. And to do that, I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Let's sort of center it right here. The color is going to be blue. I'm going to make the width 115 and the height about 25. And you can spend more time on the button, of course, than I'm doing. I'm then going to put the first part is going to be gray. So I'll draw another box. I'll make it gray. And I'm going to make this one 21 wide. And of course, I've got to move it. So I'll just put it right at the end so it's over top of the front. And then finally, I'm going to select the polygon tool. I'm going to select a polygon here that's three-sided and draw a white polygon right here and tell it to be white, and of course move that into place as well. Okay, finally I'm going to add some text. So the text here is going to say Adventure Travel. I'll use the Arial font size 10. I'll make it bold, and I'm going to select Right Align. And so in all caps I'm going to write Adventure Travel, and again I'll move that up a smidgen. Okay, so once I've created a button, I want there to be some continuity. So I want the buttons to all be the same. So what I'm going to do to make it the same is I'm going to do the Overstate. And when I click on the Overstate, I'm going to say Copy Up Graphic, and I'm going to tell it the graphic to be the same graphic. So I click this button here that says Copy Up Graphic. And then what I can do is I can modify things slightly. Like I can make the white glow to red, and I can make the background layer, I can make it go to purple. Okay, so it's got a bit of a red added to it, so it sort of appears to glow smidgen as we click on it. And this will give it the illusion that it's glowing. Okay, and the active area is the third tab I want to state. And the active area tells me where is it that the mouse is going to interact. So when I hover over here, anything between these lines is active. If I want to make the active area larger than my button, and that's okay too, if you have sort of sloppy button people, you can say, great, if they're anywhere around this part. Now I make the red box a little larger than the button. But really, to make it interact pretty well, I don't need to do that. This is a computer website, and I don't need to add any additional space. So I'm just going to trim it, and so they have to be over the button for it to act. And then finally, I select Done. So when I'm done, I'm going to use the properties of this button, and I'll give it a name. So I'm going to call this button here Adventure Travel, and say OK. So the button now appears on my screen right here. So here's my button, and I can move it. Of course, I wanted it to be over here, sort of on top. Great. Now that I've made one button, some things I need to do to that button. Where it says link, in the textbook, it says that we're going to link this page to a specific web page. And the web page it wants to link to is called adventure.htm. And so I'm going to type in adventure.htm. Where it says alt is the alternate text, and I could say in here the adventure web page, or the adventure travel web page. And now the alternate text will also appear on some browsers. Okay, so that's how we do, and we set the first button. Now you think, oh, I've got to do a whole slew of these buttons. It's going to take me a long time to do multiple copies of this button. It took me 4 minutes to do that. Aha! Don't worry, there is an easier way. So if you watch here, I'll show you the easier way. The easier way is with the library panel open, you'll see it says Adventure Travel. And in the library panel, what I can do is I can click this little drop-down list and say I want to duplicate the button. So I've got Adventure Travel, and because I duplicated it, it gives it the name Adventure Travel 1. Well, that's not a good name. The next one is going to be called, what's it called? Featured Destinations. So I'm going to call it Featured Destinations. And because it's a name, I don't put space. It's just a programming thing that I'm used to. And I tell it it's a button, and now I've made that button as well. And I'll do the same and duplicate that. And the next Featured Destinations is going to be called Adventure Gear. So I'm going to go in here and call it Adventure Gear. And now I've made 3 buttons and so forth. But the buttons aren't quite right. For example, if I drag this Adventure Travel on, it says Adventure Travel. Oops. If I put the gear on, which should be the next, next one is Featured Destination. So if I drag it on, it looks like the same button. So that's not what I want to do. So what I need to do is double click on the button and click Edit. And that takes me to the editing screen where I can use the text, and Featured Destinations is supposed to say not Adventure Travel, but it's supposed to say Featured Destinations. And it's that easy. I hit done, and now it's going to say, do you want to update the text in the other states? And so it's automatically going to go, if I had over, down, and over, while, and etc., it would automatically fix the text in those states as well. So I press OK. Let me just drag this one on and show you what it's going to look like. Here's Featured Destinations, and I can, of course, move it, and it's going to be right here. And you can see it's not going to take long to do the 5 buttons. The other thing I didn't put with Featured Destinations that it tells me in the book to do is I need to go in here and put the right web page to go to. So the web page to go to for Featured Destinations is going to be called featured in lowercase .htm. And you'll see that in the text as we go along. Second, okay, so now I've made buttons here.